Okay, good morning. So we're starting a new siman today, a very interesting, important siman. Reish Yud Beis Ikar Poite HaTafel. So the dinim of Ikar and Tafel. So says the Mechaber Sif Aleph, Kol Shehu Ikar V'imay Tafela. Whenever you have something which is Ikar, the main, the primary food, V'imay Tafela, and you have something which is subordinate, which is Tafel with it, Pirish Dava Bilti Nechshav, that even without it, you still have the Ikar. It's peripheral. Mevarech al ha'ikar upoite es hatfela. In Hilchos Brachas, you make a bracha on the Ikar, and that bracha exempts the Tafel. So, for example, you've got some chrein on your gefilte fish, you've got ketchup or whatever it is. The bracha you make on the Ikar, that patzes the bracha on the tefela. Bein mi bracha shel afoneo, bein mi bracha shel achareho. Whether it's the bracha before the bracha afterwards. Lo mi boim ha'ikar mu'urev ma'tafel. Not only if the Ikar and Tafel are all mixed up together, el afilu kol echad levada. Even if the things are separate, like I said, you've got the chrein on top of the gefilte fish. That's a separate thing. That even then you make the bracha on the Ikar covers the bracha on the Tafel. Va'afilu pas shehu choshev mikol. Even pas, which is the most choshev of foods, imu Tafel, sometimes it can be tafel. Kagoin she'eichel dog meliach. You're eating a very salty fish. Va'eichel pasime kadesh lo yazikena begrone, and you're eating a bit of bread so that the sharpness of the fish won't damage you, won't damage your throat. Mevarech al dag or peites hapas given shu tafel. You make a bracha on the dag, which is the Ikar, and that patzes the bread. Okay, let's do the Mishnah Berurah till there. Sif Cotton Aleph. So we said that if you make a bracha on the Ikar, and that covers the Tafel, and not only if the Ikar is mu'urav with the Tafel, do you make a bracha, but even if it's not. So it says Mishnah Berurah, you've got an Aleph in Ikar mu'urav, if it's all mixed up together, kagain, kol ta'arovas shnei minim, when you've got a mixture of two minim, she'echel tu Ikar v'asheni eina bo el l'saknev l'achshirei, and the second thing is going to just to be machshirit. So for example, let's say you've got a pasta, and you've got which is mazonis, and you've got little bits of vegetables and tomato sauce and cheese and other things. You make a bracha of mazonis. It's all mixed up together because the sauce and the cheese and the things is just lachshira and sakne, and therefore it's got a din of tafel, and therefore you make one bracha. Or even if they're both central, so for example, let's say you've got a dish of rice and chicken. Right, and you've got a bowl of mixed up rice and chicken, and you want rice and you want chicken. They're both Ikar. It's not that one is really subordinate to the other. You want two dishes, as it were. However, if they're all mixed up together, then you go after harov who are Ikar, says Mishnah Berurah. Then it depends what the rov is. If the rov is the rice, then you make a mazonis. If the rov is chicken, you would make a shakel. Okay. And so too, if you've got pieces which are recognizable, it's not that they're totally mixed up, like the pasta example I gave, then you go bossa rov. Actually, let's just do that quickly on number 3. He gives a good example of where two things are recognizable, but you go bossa rov. So how do you define what's considered a mixture? Because sometimes, let's say for example, you have a fruit salad. So if you've got very big pieces of fruit in the fruit salad, you can pick it up on a spoon and only one piece of mango will come up or one piece of pineapple will come up. How do you define a mixture? So he brings the Orach HaShulchan. In footnote 3 he says, V'im shnei haminim shebetarovis einam olim yachtov bekaf Rak echad mehem, only one item comes up on the spoon. A taruvus is where on one spoon you've got the mixture together coming up. If you've got, imagine a fruit salad where you've got slightly smaller pieces, so occasionally one thing will come up on the spoon, but more often than not there'll be a mixture of both on the spoon. That's a taruvus. Okay, now let's look at the next paragraph. The salat peiros, a fruit salad. Shemuravim by prio eitz priadomo. Yeah, it's quite a common shaila. You've got mango and apples, and then you've got pineapple and melon. So you've got mixtures of Ber Perez and Ber Adama. What bracha do you make? It's all mixed up together. Hayru Hagoner Shlem Zalman Arbach Vagoner Bel Yashiv in the Sefer of Zaysa Bracha Shemevarich Olav Kabirchas Amin Shu Rov. You go after the Rov, i.e., if whatever the Rov is, then you make a bracha on that. Va'af imein Rov min echad that a betziruf min echad shebrichos shove, and you count the Rov as the bracha's Rov. So, for example, let's say you got pineapple and melon and mango. So you got 2 ber priadamos and 1 ber praise. Kagoin, he says, sheyesh shlosha minim shekol echad mehem hu shlish matarvus. And then so you got a third. V'shnai mehem berchos meshava, the example I just gave you. Mevarchim brachazu. So if you got 1/3 mango, which is ber praise, 1/3 pineapple and 1/3 melon, which are both ber priadama, so then you would make a ber priadama. The kain das hagonim nisim karelis v'heiz v'gonim shlomo zam arbach shebe'es amiris habracha at the time of making the bracha yesh lahak b'lechatchila lahachzik kaf roiv me'amin shemevarech alav. Very interesting. Sometimes so you look at it, you see 1/3 mango berprates and 2/3 melon and pineapple, which is berpradama. So therefore, according to this, you make a berpradama. You take your spoon and punk that spoon that you have. You got 3 pieces of mango on it and 1 piece of pineapple. Right? So says Hashem Zalman, when you make the bracha, be makbid that the rov on the spoon even should be the majority of that bracha, of the ber pradama. Yeah, you get it?
What about the chashivas that we learned in the previous
We're going to come to chashivas in a second. The Mishnah Berurah is going to talk about it in a second. Yeah.
So it means you should try and take what there is of.
Yeah. In other words, there's what is koveya the bracha on this fruit salad you're eating? It's a taravus, right? So there's smallish pieces. So then it's a taravus, and therefore you make 1 bracha. There's Ikar Tafel. What is Ikar? What is Tafel? What is Rov? So if you got a Rov ber priadama, you make a ber priadama. Says Rosh Shlomo Zalman, just bear in mind as well, when you make the bracha and you pick up the spoon, with that first spoon you're going to make a bracha, just make sure that the Rov of what you just said is actually on the spoon. Because like I said, in the example I gave, it could be that in that first spoon, you put it into your bowl and then it happens to be there are 3 pieces of mango and a little piece of pineapple on it.
You can easily take out the berpilades and make an elite first. You should.
Yeah. Now, what if you're masupuk? You're not going to start counting the pieces of mango and pineapple. What if you're not sure? So in masupuk ezim in meruba, I'm just continuing the end of footnote 3. Kasav habirchas habayis sheyivarech es habrocha koleles yoiseh shepeteres gam zamin hasheni. Primogodim kasav b'shem aprisha shekim sheyesh lesamsein v'das ma'arov yesh lohisif alachel me'aminim ad shebevadim meruba. If you're making the fruit salad, and don't make it so that it's going to become such a suffix. Try and make it a little bit more ber priadama predominant, or ber pri is predominant. Okay, Peseda, let's carry on. So then I'm 3 lines into the Mishnah Berurah. Valkain bepurim shemerakkin shamshamin. Shumshamin. When you Purim cotton today. Yeah, very good. Baruch Hashem. So we're ahead for a reason, huh? Yeah, Valkain bepurim shemerakkin shumshamin. When you crush sesame bidvash in honey, or muravin bohem pititi egos. You've got different types of nuts. So we're describing some sort of, like a nut bar or something. Kol sherov shumshamin. If the rov is shumshamin, which is sesame, which is ber priadama, and baso ha'ikar azdin and mevarich priadama. Right. So if the majority of this bar is sesame, then you make it on that. And then if you've got other nuts in it, which are minority, you've got hazelnuts and almonds, things like that, or shahakal of sweets or whatever. The rikah you make on the rov. Miu. Kol zeh dafka b'sheshneim hu davar chashuv. That's when both of them are considered a davar chashuv. Ha'imo echad behen ein a davar chashuv. If one of the things is not a chashuv, af shehu rov, even though it may be a rov, hu bottle gabe miut hachashuv du ha'ikar. Okay, if you're based on much kosav nusham, v'da. For example, the bechamish is mine dogon kaimen on le'el simin reish ches. The imirovim imshar minim afilu heim amiut. If the miut happens to be a mazonis, because mazonis is choshev, then you go after the mazonis bracha. Kol shenitin b'tav shelatam ozin basrayim mevarich aleim berim ne mazonis levad v'nifta taruvus harov. And that will give the status of the taruvus. It putters the rest of the taruvus, which may be the rov. Because when it comes to mazonos, these 5 things, then that always has a status of ikar. Ach bevad im yesh mamish, so long as there's something there. Aval im irev kemach b'mayim harbe, if you just add flour to water, kol kachat she'urach, it's very, very liquidy. Kadesh ye'roi l'shtia, mevarach shehakol, then it doesn't have a status. So we've discussed this before with regard to a mazonos, that even though it can be the minority, that, for example, let's say you've got some lokshen in the soup, and it's, if you actually weigh it up, there's 60% chicken soup and 40% lokshen and knedlach, you still make a mazonos on that. So too, if you make a pasta, you just put in lots of vegetables and lots of cheese, and it happens to be, 30% pasta, 70% vegetables and cheese and sauce, but still, because the mazonos is the ikar, you make a mazonos on that. Okay, then, and then the mechaber had said, when it comes to Ikar and Tafel, you make a bracha on the Ikar, that covers the Tafel, and not only if it's all mixed together, even if it's not literally eaten together like in the pasta example, but even if they could be eaten separately. So he says in the Mishnah Berurah Siv Cotton base, Bein sheichel ikar v'atafel b'vas achas, bein sheichel ikar techila v'atafel achkach v'chadilakame. So, like we're going to say in a minute. So even if you eat the ikar tafel separately, you don't make a bracha on the tafel because it's considered tafel. So, for example, let's say you've got a piece of gefilte fish, yeah, and you've got a bit of carrot on it, or a bit of chrein. You see the bits of the chrein, which is the prepe adama. So then you make a shahakal, and that's it. Even if I nash a little bit of the chrein or a little bit of the carrot, I don't make a bracha on it, because that's tafel and it's covered by the shahakal you made on the gefilte fish. Yeah. Okay. So, and then we said that applies even to bread. For example, if you're eating dag meliach, you're eating a very salty bit of fish, and you just need a bit of bread to take away the saltiness of it, then you make a bracha on the dag, and you don't have to do anything on the bread. You ate something very, very sweet, and you want something now sharper. To take away the sweetness, you eat a bit of bread with it. You don't want to eat the bread, you're just eating the bread to take away the sharpness of the fish. However, if you want to eat the bread as well, herring in pas, right? So you want to have some bread with herring, or you want to have kichels with herring or whatever. True, the ikar is the herring, right? But and therefore, if you're having bread with herring, therefore you need to wash, and because you want to have the bread as well, even though the ikar is the herring, but you're wanting to have that as well. And therefore, with the what's it called as well, with the mazonos and the herring, the best thing to do is make two brachas. You make a bracha on the mazonos, and then you make a shahakal a little bit on the fish, or have a drink or something, and that way you're covered. Okay, dalet. Kiven shil tafel. So this is going on. What's this going on? Yeah, so you make a bracha on the dag, kiven shil tafel. Even if the tafel wasn't in front of you, they're going to bring the chrein soon. V'gam bo'in and davka sheyichel hatafel ba'isa makom in the same place. Lafuke k'sheshina makom ben time, as opposed to if you change places. Avim ein rogel b'kach, if you don't normally have this tafel, v'gam lo yadaita b'ferish b'shosh habracha le'achal hatafel, you don't have it in mind as well. Tzorich levarich gam al hatafel, because that came later, and therefore it's like a new addition to the meal. Ach od yivarich al hatafel rak shehakol. I'll call upon him tafel mafsid birchos Ikar. It's amazing. It loses its central bracha, and you would make a shahakal on it. For dumya the sofik the pasak haramah lekam bago the moichel atafel koydem oika ach after tzarich levarich alav b'fnei atzma ve'ein if the birchas ha'ika shevarach ha'chach mikamong is your tafel mafsid birchas ha'ikaris. So it's an unusual situation. But if you would have the tafel first, according to the Ramah, you would make a separate bracha, but it loses its actual bracha, and it gets a bracha of shahakal because it's just considered tafel. Ha'anusi, which he says at the bottom there is sheves, which I think is dill. To sort of to sweeten the wine that you drank. And you don't need to make a bracha on that, because again its purpose is just to sweeten the wine. You have this dill afterwards to sweeten the drink that you drank. Okay, now let's go back to the Ramah. Says the Ramah, Haggah, v'yesh oimrim im hatafel chaviv olav. This is what you're saying, Yossi. There are those who say, says the Ramah, that if the tafel is very precious to you, you like it. Let's say, for example, you're having, I don't know, an ice cream, and you've got the cherry on top, yeah, and you love ice glazed cherries, yeah. So, what says the Ramah, v'yesh omrim im Tafel chavel, if the Tafel is very chaviv to you, mevarich alav, you make a brach on it, v'achkach mevarich ala ikar. Says the Mishnah Berurah, Sif and Hey, Ayin b'magen Avram u'be'hagra shehikshu kama kushas al zeh. They question this Ramah. Umasik hamogen Avram ledina de ein chiluk b'zeh. There's no difference. V'gam be'eli rabba hevi b'shem bahag v'kol b'shikos v'behedja she'afilu matofel chovel of mevorich ala ikar levad. At the end of the day, you don't make a bracha on the tofel even if it's very chovel to you. V'atam ta'af she'atofel chovel of be'etzem yoyse. Even though be'etzem this tofel is very chovel to you, mikol makom ato inenu oichle rak b'shvil ikar. At the end of the day, it's tofel, and therefore you're only eating it because of the ikar. Shebishviloi. That's why you began eating this. You wouldn't just start eating glazed cherries, and therefore you're only eating it because of the ice cream, and therefore you just it loses its bracha. Even if their brachas are not the same, and certainly if their brachas are the same, you don't make two brachas for sure. You only make a bracha on the ikar. Someone who drinks liquor, you want to have a strong l'chaim, and you want to have something with it because to take away the charifus of the drink. Only if you have that in mind, and that's the rogel. And there, if you want to have a little bit of bread to take away the sharpness or the strength of the alcohol that you're drinking, then you don't need to make a brach on the bread. Do you need to wash netilas yadayim for that bread? So the Mishnah Berurah says this is machlokes achronim, and the Mishnah Berurah concludes. I'm reading from footnote 14, which is in the back of the sefer, that if you're having a little bit of bread, pachas mikazayis, which is not very much, which is like a third of a slice of bread, a small amount, then bevada yesh lismer shaloli tzahal netila. A small amount of bread you won't need netilas yadayim, but if you're having more of a substantial amount of bread to take away the sharpness of this liquor, then you wash netilas yadayim, but without a bracha. Okay, carrying on the Mishnah Berurah. V'chol zeh she'ein kavanos lechel hatofel. She'ein rav klal ve'ein oichel oiser rak l'hafigamiris. That's only if you're eating this bread or mazonas or whatever to take away the sharpness, not that you want the mazonas. Avalim kavanos b'shvil hatofel gamkein. But if you like a little bit of lekach, a little bit of rogelach with your alcohol, with the l'chaim, kagoin she'yish yain sraf oichel gamkein lekach emirkachas. You're having a bit of cake with it. Even though I'm really having a l'chaim and then there's just a little biscuit or something with it, at the end of the day, I like a bit of cake as well, and therefore and therefore in that situation you make a mazonas and a shahakal.
In that order, they don't do that.
Why?
Kiddush, if someone makes on liquor.
Yeah, that's because of kiddush. That's because of kiddush. You can't eat the cake without making kiddush first. Therefore, you make a shakal. But generally speaking, if you want to go for breakfast this morning and you want to have, I don't know, a whiskey with a rogalach or something, then you make a mazonas first. Yeah. V'uadin sheroitz lechol shadvarim ein mutarak sheroitz lechol rak ma'at kadei lofer amiris arav tafel. Avol sheroitz lechol yaisim is there ein shaykh shem tafel klal. Because it's got a dinner, it's not tafel anymore. You're eating it intrinsically for that. They listed the leif to satiate. Because the toiv limno melechol pas lemituk shtias hayayin straf. It's not a good idea to have this bread to take away the sweetness of the yayin straf. It's very hard to differentiate. Am I doing this just to take away the taste of the alcohol, or because I like the bread or the cake? Okay, let's just finish off the Ramon and this Mishnah Berurah. Hadam mevarchinan ala ikar poites atfela hainu she'oichlin. You know what? This we'll do on Friday. Let's just finish off this Mishnah Berurah. Okay, someone who eats a bit of bread, dips it in bread into the yain straf, the liquor, to help digestion. You do make a brach on that. You're just putting the bread in just to take away a bit of the sharpness of the wine, of the liquor. Ikar. Do it that way around. Sif cotton amtes min shabura tim acha she'ochel Michael shomein lokach ma'at yain shraf l'havik hashamnon shenipiv im rogel bekach ein zorch broch to Tafel the pas because it's considered Tafel for the pas. Okay, we'll finish off Ikar and Tafel and Miz Hashem next week. Okay, good chance. Okay.